What a beautiful end to a day of scouting. So I've got all of my gear laid out for the entire process, everything from scouting to rigging to tagging and tensioning. When you're doing a project like this, from the start, it's really helpful if you're planning the entire process from the beginning. To break it down into its separate steps, I've got my scouting kit, and also I'll use it throughout the rest of the process. I've got tagging. I've got my anchor laid out, or my entire rig laid out, from static anchor to webbing to dynamic side. And then there's my tensioning kit. Don't forget your padding, of course. So for the scouting kit, I use rangefinder. You gotta have your Sun Pro, sunglasses, sunscreen, snacks and water. And then tagging, depending on what method you're using, you have to have a tag to get across the gap, or you need several tags if you're gonna use clothesline method or something like that. And then to go through how I'm gonna be rigging, I've got my anchor material. I'm just gonna be wrapping a tree. So I've got 2 span sets for that. One is main, one is going to be a redundancy. Got to have my padding, and then it's just going to be end terminations in the webbing, so sewn loops to my hard shackles, and then back it up with a soft shackle. Then I've got my webbing. So then on the home side of the webbing, I've got my leash, web lock, mighty lock, and then an extra hard shackle just in case, and then my steel carabiner for tying everything back. I'm going to be using this right here as a hang frame. That'll suspend me off the rock a little bit. And then I've got 2 soft shackles to connect from my anchor material to my hang frame. And I've got padding for the anchor and my pulley system for tensioning. Alright, so I'm headed out to rig the line tomorrow. Got to check the weather, make sure everything's going to be good one last time. I'm using the Windy app, and I found that's the most reliable, and it was recommended to me by a bunch of other highliners. And we're looking good for the next 3 days. I don't know how long I'll have it up for yet, but for the next 3 days, the maximum wind we're going to have consistent is 7 miles per hour, and then the biggest gust we're going to have is 14 miles per hour. So we're all in the clear there. In a big rig like this, generally the time when you want to reconsider whether you really want to rig is if you're going to have 25-mile-an-hour gusts or more. That's kind of like the yellow, gray area. Whereas if you have 35 and above, that's usually no-go. But we're super in the clear with only 14. Here we go, it's the night before, about 7 hours till I wake up, all packed up. Alrighty, on the way to the lines, got a little bit of a surprise rain. Supposed to look just a little bit cloudy, but it will suffice. We're up at the parking spot for the line now. It's a little bit wet, it's a little bit cold, but I'm excited. Beautiful day out here in Boulder. Beautiful fall day. Up in the clouds. Well, don't want to bring my camera out in this weather while I'm rigging, so if there's a good part of it, I don't have to carry all my camera gear now. Alrighty, ladies and gents, at 9 hours and 20 minutes, we have a fully rigged 385 meter high line. Let's check out the anchor, why don't we? We've got the span set with Tree Pro going to our master point, which has a soft shackle, going to our web lock. Web lock is tied off, it goes through the hole and then out the top and daisy chain, so it's releasable, but is backed up to a steel carabiner. And then our backup goes to a mighty lock, and that mighty lock is connected to both the backup and the main span set, and that steel carabiner that the web lock is backed up to is through both as well. And I didn't forget the leash.
Yes, Logan!
Alrighty, de-rig day. Thankfully we have a little bit better weather than last time. Gonna see how many laps I can get on it, and then we'll take it down. Hopefully that won't take too long. Backups. Turned on anti-gravity mode. Well, I had no wind the last couple of days, so I can't complain, but man, that was an interesting walk right there. I still have the curtain rod up from when I rigged, so hopefully it won't be too bad to just clip the webbing to the curtain rod, lower the webbing, pull it in, maybe lower it to the ground, but it might be easier to just pull it in. For reference, the weather's saying that I should only have 19 mile an hour gusts with like 7 mile per hour constant winds, but I've been seeing pretty constant, probably 19 miles an hour, because whatever it's gusting at is pretty much what it's been sitting at as well. Alrighty, super important. Got my signage up so that anyone else using the path doesn't get disturbed by me laying out the webbing, and hopefully nobody will get into an accident for biking over it. The plan for the anchor is I want to release webbing through the web lock, so I'm going to do the Jerry Macheski trick where I flip the webbing upside down and then use this as my soft release. Alrighty, just got my pulley system set up right there, and I'll go through how that works. So in order to release easily, the Gree is going to be my primary progress capture. I would prefer an eddy, an outer rid eddy, because it's got a stronger handle and it's just more durable, but I've got a Gree. So I've got my pulley system going from the anchor to a wafer. Also suspicious of the wafer on Y2K at these tensions, but hopefully it won't slip. So I'm just going to pull in a little bit and flip the web lock upside down and put the webbing upside down on the web lock so it's coming out the bottom. And then I'll release tension off of the Gree, and it should be all on the webbing, and I'll release, 20 meters of webbing and have it be a lot lower tension. We're good on the wafer, it's not slipping. We got tension off the web lock, so I can flip that over now. Alrighty, I'll lower it to about right there. I think any lower and I might have to worry about abrasion on the far side. So I'm gonna go check that out. Got a nice little gust. Right after detension. Alrighty, I clipped my main line back into Mighty Lock so that it's not gonna slip through anymore while I walk over to the other side. Over on the static side, and got my pulley system letting out a little bit tension from this side so I can extend beyond those rocks right there so I don't get abrasion. I put the tag line, the clothesline, through my leash ring that was embedded in my system and put a little half hitch in it so that there's a little bit of friction. And that way I can go back to the far side and adjust both this side of the webbing through the tag line and then also the webbing itself because it's anchored over there. Back on the home side, since I put the webbing through the leash string onto the tag line, now I'm going to let out a bunch of tag line to release webbing from that side and see if I can't simultaneously release webbing from this side. Just drop them both sides down at the same time and just collect the webbing. All right, pulley system is off. Web lock is upside down. Time to let out some webbing and some tag line. Just gotta get back to the car now. Alrighty, that's all that's left. And the sun's going down-ish. What a full day.